Good evening. It's 9:08 p.m. It is January 26th. It's Friday evening, and hopefully you guys made it home, or maybe you guys are out on the town enjoying yourself. Whatever. You'll hear this video sometime, but anyway, excited to come on and make another video. Obviously, it's kind of late, but I've been known to make videos at all times of the day, and usually it's just because I get this urge to talk. Right now I'm in a talky mood. And when I want to talk, not necessarily want to be in like a conversation. Sometimes I just want to release my feelings um, on my YouTube channel. Right now I'm going through a lot of ups and downs in my mood. And like I said, I'm getting the vibe or the message in my mind that people think I'm becoming a hermit. I have to be very careful about who I talk to. And there's sometimes, it's like, it's also a lot of it has to do with, like I said, I don't want to transfer my negative mood to people. I really don't have a lot of positive things to say at this moment. So it's like, it's not like conversation is going to be something that's going to be on my mind. Sometimes it is, but, sometimes I would say that it's not, so it's like, it's not good telling people, oh, I'm not working, I'm not, I'm dealing with this, I'm going on with that, it's like, it's not positive, right? So, I try to, I prefer to keep my conversations, my tones, when I'm conversing, positive, so, I really don't like talking about myself a lot right now. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. Anyway, so I wanted to come on here and kind of go through some of the things that are going on in my mind. Um, at first, I wanted to say something, but I think it's whatever. That's why scripts are important. There's a lot of people who feel as though my little Cabbage Patch doll is really cute, and I'm glad you guys think so because I think he's pretty cute too. Um, you know, um, if I hated white people, I wouldn't love Cabby at all because Cabby's white. So obviously, I don't hold a grudge against people for the reason. I plan on, like I said, I do plan on putting him in other videos, like a little stop animation. It's just a matter of, because I like to see him like, eating something perfect. That seems like a fairly easy thing to do. I think the only obstacle that I have is understanding how to make his cheeks appear to move. I think if I use maybe some fabric or something, I can create something. But yeah, um, I think he's cute, and he's very comforting, to have around because it's something cute that you can kind of release your emotion to. Because I want something to adore, something that's just really cute, right? So like, I love stuff like that. People know that I like Hello Kitty. They know I'm a crazy Sanrio fan. I've been a fan of Sanrio for a very, very long time. Since I was a kid, I know when Hello Kitty was popular back in the 80s. Um, she had really originally been out before then, like sometime around 1976 or something. But that merchandise at the time was like exclusive. You could only buy it, in Sanrio stores. And I know that Hallmark used to sell it. Now you can get it pretty much anywhere. But yeah, I've always, enjoyed things that are happy, cute, um, girly, whatever. You know what I mean? I couldn't get into all the girly stuff, but I would say like little cartoon caricatures and stuff like that. I find it very cute, and that's not something that you outgrow. Okay. Now, some people might come into my room, like my bedroom, like I have my little stuffies like around my bed. Like, they might, I remember having people come into my house, like for example, the landlord would have to come in, or like somebody who's working like on utility or something. And I remember the look on their face, and most of the time, the people that come to your house, they're perps, okay? Like you get like cable guys and stuff like that or whatever. They're kind of a part of the perp chain. Like what I mean by that is like obviously there's like this thing, this buzzword that goes on in the community. People know they're not going to hire you. They know that they're going to kind of harass you. This is what was going on in the beginning, okay? So I mean, I'm not dealing with any of the harassment now, but
I'm just telling you, you know, that I know that people have looked at my house, like my arts and crafts and stuff like that, and their perception of me is like, oh, she's babyish. No, I'm not babyish. I just indulge in my hobbies. Okay. And it's sad that you even have to explain that, but
Yeah, I'm glad that people think he's cute because I think he's cute too. Anyway, I think that's yesterday's video. I did talk about, sacred, what's sacred to me. Obviously, I think I forgot to say the most important thing is I believe, our Creator is the most sacred thing. And, I have always felt a connection to that source, and it's a big part of my life, and you know, I just don't believe that people should use any sort of um, what do you call it? I try very hard to uphold um, my belief system and my relationship with the divine, and I think to me it's not sacred when people like bring God into like their personal vendettas and stuff like that. That to me is it's not sacred. It's like you're not upholding, you're not respecting, because obviously you're kind of, I don't know, demeaning or defiling God, or when you do that, because everything that relates to the power should never, I believe, should never be like disgraced or um, disrespected in any way. So yeah, I mean that's important to me. Also, I know that, and I hate mentioning this. Really, I do hate mentioning it. But I do struggle with the issue of trying to move on, mainly because of the sluggish issues that are going on in my life. And I did mention that I have problems with my Patreon, and I have suggested that perhaps maybe it would be a good idea, because my issue is that people are fearful of having their information disclosed on my channel, and I fully understand it. I do. Okay. Um, it's very frustrating because it's very frustrating because when I was working in the 9 to 5 arena, I guess corporate jobs or whatever, there was always some sort of hassle, and mainly this hassle came from people that legally do not have any right to put bars and blocks and barriers on me. Even though I understand that this comes from the top of the pyramid, obviously this top of the pyramid scheme is not only illegal, it's like an outright scandal. Okay, so these people are in the wrong. It only makes sense that, if somebody has been abused in a workplace, that they're going to find other alternatives. And mainly, this is my life work. I've always wanted to present my life's work, like, leave a part of myself, um, as a mark. Everybody has that. And I understand that, I would say that my frustration in the workplace, I started off thinking that I wanted to do something humble, meaning like, just work of being a little bookkeeper or something like that. And that's how I raised my son. And of course, I've always wanted to do work, like whether I wrote about my experience in life, or my interest in the occult, or just things that I would say that my Patreon channel is existing for, right? Um, and so now I feel like this is the opportunity for me to do it. I mean, I'm like 53 years old. I was very frustrated with the work environment there, and so my only other alternative, and I thought this would be a good one, I knew that I couldn't monetize my channel on YouTube because they were messing with YouTube, right? So then I kept thinking, okay, what other alternatives? I don't know any other alternative. You know what I mean? So that is my only alternative, right? So, it's frustrating because you have these these frustrating blockages, and I'm desperately trying my best to not have to deal with what I dealt with in the past. Um, I can go into I can go into the reason why the stuff that went on at the top of the pyramid is a scandal, but that's not important. I think people know why. Okay, um, it's, and I know that people get frustrated with me saying it, but because I think here's the thing: I'm dealing with a lot of narcissistic people, right? And so because I mentioned the fact that I'm in a stagnation period, and really I have really every right to kind of get angry, because I know in their mind they're like, well, you know how it goes in their mind. They're thinking I'm being unreasonable. They try to justify reasons why they feel as though um, I shouldn't be angry or whatever. But at the end of the day, if this was to go to court, I would be in the right, okay? Because I am right. Okay, there really is no argument about it. Okay, there really is none. Um, and so, here I am frustrated because I don't know how to move my future because of the blockages, right? I would have, obviously I would have chosen YouTube, right, to promote my videos and stuff like that. But unfortunately, like I said, YouTube was being played with, and I feared that when I made this decision to move on to what I'm doing now, I feared that I was going to be targeted again. Okay, and targeting to me, obviously, I can tell you, I've mentioned several times, I have over 1,300 videos talking about the psychological effects of people following you around and kind of fucking with your shit and stuff like that. I really I was glad to leave the corporate shit because I knew I didn't want to have to deal with that again, and I feel like I'm dealing with it again, and it's just tiring. Okay, it is very traumatizing, especially now that I've unraveled what all this is about, and it's like, oh my god, it makes it even double the scandal. So I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it at all. So please, what I'm saying is like I don't know what's going on, but I would really like this to be resolved as soon as possible. I need to get on with my life. I need to get on with I need to get out of this place. I need to get out of Bakersfield, and I need peace of mind. You know what I mean? And that's basically what I'm saying. So, there's got to be ways where you can. And I'm thinking about in the future for other people because, like I said, if people have an audience that is, filled with people who I consider like VIPs or very important people. That's an acronym, which I'm sure you know. But anyway, um, people understand, if they had something like that to where like they could block the audience and say, like for example, I know how that layout is. It shows like your email, your name and your email address. Instead of showing your name and your email address, couldn't it just show member one, member number one, member number two, blah 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 blah, like like this other portion of the audience to where it's hidden, right? So you don't know who it is. It's just hidden, or converted, or whatever you want to call it. Because see, everything that I try to do, which I have the right to try to make a living for myself, unless of course your other alternative was to have me killed off. That's really basically the only way I look at it. And this is when I think about the nature of this. You don't understand what goes through my mind. I'm not comfortable with this at all. No one in their right mind would be. It's bizarre and it's abnormal, and I'm not comfortable with it at all. You know what I mean? Working when I was talking about going back to work, I was in a conversation with someone today, and we were talking, and he's like, well, why don't you just go get a job? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to get a job. And some people will say, well, you're not taking responsibility. I mentioned before in some of my videos, I would say going all the way back to 2017 or so, when I was talking about the after effects of people who've been targeted. A lot of people go out on disability, and they go out on disability because the psychological effects of being mobbed multiple times is extreme. It's extreme. It is extreme. See, when you're dealing with narcissistic people, they don't understand that. Now, some narcissistic people in my audience, in my soul tribe, are listening, and they're admitting to themselves that they do have a problem with understanding. They don't know. They really don't know. Like they have no idea of the damage that they cause and why, because it doesn't that sort of behavior is destructive. It's destructive to blacklist people. It's destructive to spread rumor campaigns against people. It's destructive to to clone people. It's destructive to try to sell people. It's destructive to try to create, what do you call it, public type gambling on people's life types. This is beyond scandalous, okay? And I'm in it, okay? I'm disturbed by it, like literally disturbed by it. What did I want to say? So going back to work to me is not an option. It's not me. It's not a failure. I thought that I would always have the endurance to go back to work. So my last job, the summer before that was very it was extremely depressive and extremely dark for me. And I said, you know what? I really kept thinking I'm gonna have to struggle to go back to work, but I got a job, and it was going fine for a while. I actually liked working as the administrative assistant more so than I did when they started giving me these ridiculous promotions, which I kept thinking, okay, it just kept getting weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder. But it was making me sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker with the people acting like they don't know stuff, and the fucking feeling like I was being monitored all the time, feeling like the what do you call it, the pressure, the ridiculous pressure of somebody being jealous of me, knowing that they're being jealous of me, and trying to force me into lifestyles that I didn't want, and trying to what do you call it, indoctrinate me. And I kept thinking, before I had started working for this company, I was happy because I was going to work and, wearing my clothes and just going, I felt I was going to just go back to normal life, right? But, the whole issue is I was being bullied, okay? I'm being bullied, I'm being targeted, I'm being, singled out for something I would never ask for. It is scandalous, you know what I mean? This is like I said, it's like the typical white racist type of behavior. They typically do pit black people against each other. Okay, this time, they're doing something even sicker because of the Joseph Mengele thing. So, I wasn't comfortable with that, and then I remember back in January where I did the blue light bulb meditation, and came to understand that there was a particular, what do you call it, a particular celebrity that was around, hoovering or whatever. I had this was like the first time it came to my realization that there was some sort of connection with celebrities. Otherwise, I had no idea. And then I found out, that I was cloned last fall, and then I found out, who my mother was, and then I kept thinking, okay, this makes sense now. I had no idea that celebrities were involved. So I think that these people thought that I was getting dressed up every day for celebrities, or I was showing off for the celebrities. That's impossible. Okay, I may be psychic, but like I said, I'm always thinking in the realms of what is possible. In my mental mind, my mind, I kept thinking, well, I knew that my siblings were involved in it, and that people from school, and I kept thinking, well, maybe they were just after me because, I am who I am now, okay, and they've always hated me, right? So here they are trying to bully me, right? And I didn't think if it was any further than that. I'm not interested in competing. I will not compete. And I'm sorry that people were involved in something so absolutely, crazy, but it only makes sense that somebody would want to move on from something like this. It would only make sense that somebody wants to just get on with their life. As for the person on top of the pyramid, um, and then top of the pyramid, I get this psychic feeling that his son, or I should say his sons, are concerned that this is going to ruin their reputation. I will tell you that this program has been in process long before this person was ever born. So I would say that this person, these two boys, should be cleared somewhat of this issue. Mind you, that is, of course, if they did not have a hand in rooting for this little competition. See, now that's a different issue altogether. But I don't want to say too much about that, but that's one thing I do need to say. You know what I mean? I am quite disturbed by it all. Okay. My content on my Patreon channel basically just does, I rarely appear in my Patreon videos. Okay. Only time I appear is when I, do a demonstration. Okay. Like I did a demonstration on smudging. Okay, so some people are not familiar with it, so I figured I'll go ahead and do a demonstration on it. Um, it only makes sense when somebody is behind the camera. Okay, you're filming. Okay, you're going to make, at least even a person who doesn't dress up, it would make sense for them to have some sort of decent appearance. Okay, so you got somebody who's jealous, who's watching and complaining about stuff. You know what I mean? Somebody who's like, oh, tearing me apart and whatever. I didn't ask for the goddamn competition. You know what I mean? Whether this is a person, whether it's my twin who feels this competition by pressure or her own initiative or whatever, I do believe that she's aware of the social circle that what I'm saying. Of course, she's connected to celebrities as well, and you know, I'm not I'm not interested in competing with this person. I don't even want to know this person. You know what I mean? I don't want to know any of these people. Not like the celebrity soul tribe, but I'm just saying is, I understand that this person is my mother. Okay, biologically she's my mother, and it doesn't. I don't feel. It's a tragedy. Okay, it's a tragedy that somebody would even participate in something like this. Regardless, even taking the person on top of the pyramid out of the equation, it just I can't deal with it. You know what I mean? I cannot deal with it. Having two people, somebody pitting you against their sibling, or watching it and thinking that's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's animalistic, and it's questionable and it's bizarre. You know what I mean? And I know that people do weird stuff. And when you're talking about people who are wealthy, sometimes wealthy people have what I call bizarre appetites when it comes to what entertains them. You know what I mean? And this is one of those bizarre perversions that I want no part of. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and, okay, and I do believe that this person who is my biological mother knows that I do not want to know her. I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with it. Okay? It is what it is. Also, there's a lot of like messages coming to me about my oldest sibling, my ex-sibling, my adopted sibling. That would be my ex-sister Tanya. Now Tanya knew the people on the top of the pyramid, or at least loosely somehow, and she was hungry for power. That I understand that people are constantly bringing or thinking about this connection with my ex-sister Tanya. Number one, here's the thing. I know that in targeting, somebody feels as though they have some sort of entitlement over another person. Okay, I am over the age of 18. Okay, which means that I'm responsible for myself. No one has the right to vouch for me unless, of course, they had some sort of court order. And I would have to be legally, I would have to be aware of that. Okay, I would have to be aware of that.
You can't just say, oh, I can take control of this person, or I have the right to say with. If people are that stupid and brainwashed, you know what I mean, or they were just outright corrupt to think that. Okay, I don't have anything to do with my sister Tanya, or my brother Sean, or my other sister Lisa. Okay, we cut ties. Okay, I know that Tanya was very unhappy. She was extremely jealous all the time. I do believe that my sister Tanya possibly, okay, this is something that's going through my mind. I might meditate on it later, but see, I would rather not sit here and nitpick, because I don't think it's relevant now. But I do think my ex sister Tanya somehow or another got connected with my biological sibling and somehow or another just wanted to fuck me over. You know what I mean? This is what I'm thinking. There must have had some sort of connection somehow. Okay. Um, you know, like I said, you adopt a person and you raise them, and then they turn around and do. It's weird. This is the strangest shit. Like I said, but I've talked about why I have an issue with people who have extreme privilege because they can get very, very weird. You know what I mean? And I'm like, really? I mean, I understand we do live in a monetary system. Unfortunately, we have to make a living, okay? But and I know that the more money you can make, the more comfortable you can feel. You can feel a little bit more at ease. I fully understand that, okay? But some people just they call me eccentric, okay? But some people have very strange. Like they think that people are like game pieces. And they literally dehumanize people to where they think this, and they think it's okay to have contest, to either like intimidate somebody or harass somebody or, whatever, whatever the case is. Or I don't know exactly how dark this whole thing went, but it felt very dark. You know what I mean? You're going to bully somebody and make somebody. I have no legal obligation to have any, and these people have no legal obligation. What I mean by obligation is they have no legal ties to me. My, whether it be blood or my adoptive family, has no right legally to say shit about my life me as an adult over the age of. That goes for my adoptive mother as well as my biological mother. I am an adult. Period. Period. Okay. And so to me, um, I don't know. I'm angry. I'm just angry. I don't care about competing against anybody. I am serious because what I do feel is both of my siblings, my family, okay, my ex family, okay, that includes my blood as well as my adopted family, have no regard for me. They might think I know that inside they have some sort of admiration for me. What I mean by that is they understand that yes, I do have skills, yes, I do have talents, and yes, they are starting to see and take me seriously. Okay. But at the same time, I don't like being competed with. Okay. I don't like games. You know what I mean? And I don't like the history of this dark family relationship, whether that be my blood or my adoptive family. I'm disturbed by it. It literally makes me sick. It makes me sick. It's like I'm not proud to say, "Oh, this woman's my." I don't care how famous she is. I'm not proud to say that that's my mother. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not. Like I said, you can take Mr. Pyramid Dude off the top of the pyramid and eliminate him from the equation, and it's still sick to me, regardless. Anyway, yeah, so when it comes to like going back to work and stuff like that, no, I would say I would classify myself as somebody who is disabled. Disabled when it comes to me having to be in a social environment like that. Just like the people who go out on disability, if they're lucky enough to get disability,
okay? Because you know they fuck people over all the time, right? They mess their income up. They do all kinds of stuff, right? Um, they can't do it. They have social anxiety. They have all kinds of issues. I would say that I'm in that category, especially since leaving the last place. Okay, I'm just I can't do it. Okay, so I understood that. So this is why I did. You know, I made my decisions to. You know, in October I made my decision. So you know, um, I know how angry people get when they are in the wrong, and then somebody's basically saying, "Hey, I need to make it right," and then you get people blow up at you, and they lose their they get frustrated at you. Once again, I'm going to send it right back. I have a right to. I have a right to be upset. Anyway, I get that. I do appreciate people who understand that. You know, hey, Maria does smoke weed. Okay, I don't smoke weed all the time, but I do smoke it. Okay, and I was working on a video today. I didn't finish it. I started the recording of it, right? I write the scripts out and then I do the recording. And, then I get kind of demoralized and I get, focused on something. It's very demoralizing. But this particular video is for YouTube. Um, but it does. It just gets like, well, but I love making videos. And this is one of the reasons why, I continue to work on them. You know what I mean? And I know that sometimes what they do is they like to create problems, hoping that, oh, she'll be demoralized and she'll just walk away. This is my only way of making income. You need to understand that. Mr. Person on the pyramid, or the sons of the people on the pyramid, or the celebrity soul tribe, or whatever. That is the only way I can do it. I don't have any other options. You know? So, I mean, I understand that you guys are concerned about that, but, something needs to happen. And it needs to happen quickly because I've suffered enough. I have suffered enough. Okay, and I'm not going to sit here, like I said before, this is not me being arrogant about me making sacrifices. I don't make sacrifices for issues that relate to, what do you call it, bullying or anything like that. I think I present myself very well in my videos. Okay, however I choose to dress or appear in my videos, that's my choice. Okay, my Patreon channel as well as my YouTube channel or any other channel that I make it for me so that I'm hopefully can make a living. You know what I mean? And the reason why I didn't want to work in, when people have their certain jobs, right? Like some people, like when I was younger, I used to work fast food. I hated that. When I was younger, I was like a teenager or whatever. And I could have had, I want an office job because I want to wear my own clothes. And I knew that. You know what I mean? I remember when I used to go to like job, like what do they call it? Oh, and agencies, right? Looking for work. And they would say, these things are important. What kind of work environment do you like? Do you like working inside? Do you like working outdoors? What do you like to do? Because you have to have an idea of what you want in order to be adjusted. You know what I mean? And when you go into these workplaces, and I understand some people they think uniforms are a good idea. Okay, like I would say in certain places, I guess so, right? Uniforms are good, but this was about a competition. Okay, and I knew when I was younger, hey Maria, I don't ever want to work fast food because I don't want to work. I don't want to wear a fucking uniform. I like going to work. I like doing my little changing my color out during the day. And people always associate it with, oh, well, she's just, maybe it's because one of my siblings were jealous because of the celebrity soul tribe or whatever, and then they were taking it out on me. That's not my fucking problem. Don't blame me for your problems, you know? And you can't sit here and treat me like I'm some sort of goddamn commodity and expect me to give a shit about you. It's just not possible. This is like human trafficking on a completely different level. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Okay, and it's a crime, and it's a federal crime. And it's sick. You know what I mean? And I understand, who's involved in it. Okay. But with that understanding and with my cooperation, you know what I mean? And I think, I mean, I could sit here and say more. I can name names and like bring this whole thing. You know, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to get on with my life. I think I've been as cordial as I possibly can. Okay, and it's logical, reasonable, and completely justified for me now, of course, not to have a relationship with these people. Okay, you know, literally, it's just ridiculous. Like I don't, I think with some of my siblings might have passed on. You know what I mean? Good. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Because these people were like bullying me to the point of where, you know, trying to basically force you into suicide. Like, would you, you know, this is who I am. These are the things I live for. Yes, I live for my clothes. I live for my stuffed animals. These are the things that keep me hanging on to life. They do, you know, and nothing would replace that. Nothing would. Nothing's going to replace that. Even if they said, hey, you know, you'll get this amount of money for this particular job if you just do this, this, and this. Some people have to weigh it up. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I remember I would have this conversation, you know, with my ex-husband, right? We were talking and I was telling him, you know, that, you know, even if I made like a shitload of money, I still wouldn't be happy if I had to work every other weekend. I want my weekends. And I know, I mean, when I was working at my last job, I was making a lot of money, okay? But when they introduced the uniform, I really fucking started hating it. I hated it. So it doesn't matter to me. I understand what I value and what I don't value. You know what I mean? People have to be well adjusted and they have to be in the right setting. And I understand sometimes you get what you get, but see, sadly, the employment sector, okay, is extremely corrupt. It is, okay, because I would have never chosen that. Now, mind you, the company that I was working for, that was not an industry that I would have chosen. You know what I mean? That's why I would prefer to have stayed the administrative assistant. You know what I mean? And I understand it does matter. It matters. The industry but see, they always want to put you in something that they think is good for you. They try to change you to the point of where you just want to die. It's no longer worth living. It is no fucking longer worth getting up I don't give a fuck. I know what I value. You know what I mean? And so, you know, no, I don't. And I don't have it. They expected me to sacrifice my life or aspects of my life for people I definitely 100% don't give a shit about. That's absurd. But then again, we also know that this was some sort of competition. Competition on somebody's life. You have no right to ever gamble with anybody's life on any level for any reason. Okay? Don't get angry at me. Get angry with yourself. You know? Anyway, um, I did mention that, you know, these particular people, I'm talking about pyramid people, I'm talking about people who are also underneath it. You do have to tell people that they're in the wrong. You really do. You have to tell them, you know, because most people are not law abiding and most people are not really even aware that either ignorant of the law or they're just outright corrupt. You know what I mean? And when it comes to how you treat people and what's considered polite, what's considered rude, what's considered proper etiquette, some people think that if you don't look like them, then you're not a human being or whatever. Okay. Obviously, I'm human enough. Okay, that you know I can tell that the way that I was treated in this whole thing was just absolutely insane. You know what I mean? You're in the wrong, Mister Up on the top of the pyramid. Who you know, and you know who you are. you're in the wrong, and you don't treat people that way. Yeah, and I would think somebody of your position would know better. Um, anyway, um, yeah, I do understand that she should understand, that I don't want a relationship with them. I don't like to at all. So I'm hoping that I can move on and at least have make my plans for the next upcoming month. I'm hoping because I was hoping I'd be out of here by January. I really was. I was hoping I had it planned out. I was really hoping, but at the same time, I was also very fearful of running into this bullshit. I was very upset when I started getting the suspicion. I get sick having to turn on my computer. I get sick having to communicate with the agents at Patreon. I get tired of having to even sometimes calling even representatives or not getting my phone calls, returned. Like when I called the law office and I didn't get that return, it's like, I get tired of the perp game. I get tired of it, you know? Like there's no reason why any of my family should be sitting here on my back all this time. You know, I'm an adult. I don't, I wouldn't spend any extra time with them if I didn't have to. Like, leave me the fuck alone. You know, I don't know. Like I said, they can blame the person on the top of the pyramid or the ancestors of the person on the top of the pyramid all they want to. And don't get me wrong, those people are goddamn guilty. Okay? But you can still take them out of the equation and they would still be assholes. Just by the fact that they had no fucking regard for me, my human life, my timeline, from childhood all the way up. You know what I mean? I don't care if God came down himself. I couldn't abuse another person. I couldn't do it. It's not in me to do that. It's not in me. I would say I'm sorry. I can't do it. I cannot do it. So if he deemed me as worthy of dying because I couldn't abuse someone like that, then I guess he would have to take my life because I couldn't do it. I do not. I am not like that. I am not a wicked person at all. Now I've done things in the past that I'm not proud of, but I could never say that I could ever do something like that. And take away a person's life, their childhood, their teen years, their adult years, and then come back and try to take out their later years, and then get angry when a person doesn't want to bend to their fucking will. What is wrong with you? You know what I mean? Demonic. With or without Mr. Person on the top of the pyramid. So anyway, I think I'm done talking. I'm sorry, y'all, but sometimes I get a little upset, and I really just, like I said, I just get tired of having to think about these things all the time. Because I try to stand up for myself. I try to do the best I can. When you're dealing with issues relating to blacklisting, or you're dealing with people with their stupid campaign smears, or illegal operations relating to human trafficking, gambling on people's lives, or whatever you want to call it, okay, it creates problems, major problems. You know what I mean? And they do this on purpose. And I get tired of that. You know what I mean? It's sickening to me. It's sickening because every time I turn on my computer, or send somebody an email, or read somebody's email, or communicate with somebody, I'm always thinking, okay, what the fuck am I having to deal with? What am I dealing with? I don't like it. You know, I hate it actually. Anyway, it's getting late, you guys, and so I hope you guys do have a good weekend. The people who do support me, and I hope that you take time out for yourself and do the things that you love to do. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I will be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Good night.